What up? It's your boy T-Bear Reaction. Today's Wrestling Wednesday, but I get into some partsFUNknown. I've done some plenty of partsFUNknown. I've been wanting to react to. I even made a collection for it, but I still haven't got to it though. Anyway, all the lessons like for pay-per-view stuff like that. But let's say it's just like a little bit of time. I at least want to get these two out the way though as well too. If it's not gonna be all in one video, it's gonna be back to. It's not gonna be all in one videos though. It's gonna be back to back. But anyway, it's both about the same thing though. So we're gonna check out title runs that had good endings or bad endings though. That started good, that started bad, or didn't know why they won, but it still turned out to be a good reigns though. So we'll talk from the best title wins that led to terrible reigns though, and that was like for a while a little thing that WWE had a habit of doing though, especially with babyface title winners as well too. That's my biggest gripe with wrestling in general, especially WWE. Yeah, that's tie your shoes because you won't stop putting your shoes on. But anyway, the biggest gripe I have with wrestling, especially WWE, is having babyface have shitty runs, have great wins, see title run, which make folks say that they're only good for the chases and only good for the moments only. Afterwards, they're shit because they don't know how to book, and it sucks right there. I hate that as well too. And it might be surprising. We might see some heels in this as well too. Either way, without further ado, we're gonna check out 10 best title wins that led to terrible reigns. I guess one of them will be Daniel Bryan though. And sometimes it can be it's not their fault either, or the booking fault. Sometimes injuries happen as well too, can delay it. But either way, without further ado, let's check it out. You hear my little man? Anyway, let's get it.
There are few things in wrestling more satisfying than a title change. The big finish, the bell rings, and we all cheer, boo, cry, angry stare, or look on in baffled disbelief. Hello, Jinder. But I believe it was Professor Dan Layton, wasn't it, who said that a moment in wrestling is only as good as the story that follows. And if I didn't say that, I absolutely meant to. I'm Dan, hailing from partsFUNknown, and these are the 10 best title wins that led to terrible reigns. Number 10, Hikaru Shida, AEW Women's Title 2023. Hikaru Shida is one of the best women's wrestlers working today, having won AEW's Women's Championship in front of nobody during the
third one, the second run.
Early days of the pandemic, seeing her lift the title above her head once again, this time in front of a packed arena in the main event of Dynamite's 200th episode, was a wonderful thing to behold. Problem is, the decisions that put her in that spot and the booking of the subsequent run make everything feel a bit hollow. You see, the match had been boosted to the main event spot in an attempt to provide a quick answer to criticism over the way AEW booked its women's division. And praise where it's due, it's a good thing that they listened, and I'm glad Shida and Storm were given that opportunity. But following it up with a stack fatal four-way at Wembley's All In, for which, depending on how you view it, and apologies for the controversy, Shida herself kind of had to qualify for it. It felt like a sloppy choice. And as Shida technically wasn't even involved in the finish that saw her reign end, being trapped in a submission while the pinfall took place elsewhere, it's a
Thank God they made
shame that such a satisfying
Thank God they making it for her now, as she's now 3-time women's champion.
Richly deserved moment was left feeling like a fleeting break in the clouds. Number 9, Rob Van Dam, WWE title 2006. I was gonna be the champ, but then I got high.
God damn it.
RVD had never been hotter when he was pushed into the main event scene in 06 and challenging for the WWE title at ECW's One Night Stand in front of a crowd for whom viciously hostile is a euphemism. The mood was perfect as Van Dam dethroned John Cena with a pinfall countered by Paul Heyman in a moment that felt truly renegade, fit to mark the official rebirth of the Land of Extreme. And then 3 weeks later he was caught roadside with some naughty cigarettes and what was referred to as drug paraphernalia, not to be confused with illegal substances or scandalous accoutrement. Because he had only just hit the main event scene, this was seen internally as dropping the ball with his big push and bringing the company into disrepute. So Van Dam was stripped of the WWE and newly minted ECW championship in short order and never made it back to the top of the card. Number 8, Bray Wyatt, WWE title 2017.
Yeah, we know about that. I mean, it is what it is, but still, man. RP to Bray, by the way.
Not a vintage year for the WWE Championship, if we're honest, hello Jinder, but at least the moment where Bray Wyatt pinned John Cena and AJ Styles in succession to win the belt at Elimination Chamber was one of pure electricity. Bray's was a character never fully understood by the ones booking him, but the fans never gave up on his genius and his potential, and seeing him climb to the top of the mountain was tremendously exciting. The polar opposite of tremendously exciting, however, is the WrestleMania match where he dropped the belt to Randy Orton 49 days later. The feud itself was somewhat...
I was as mad, Bray was Orton was baby facing Bray Wyatt's the hill, but okay for your side, they did Bray dirty, man. And looking back now since he passed, yeah, that sucks.
Musing with a Ross and Rachel situation developing over whether Orton would challenge for the belt, right up until Randy decided to do the most by burning the Wyatt compound to a crisp. Although, confession time, the hokiness of sending Sister Abigail to eternal damnation kinda works for me. What doesn't work for me, however, was the WrestleMania match itself. What all this was building to, the biggest show of the year, arguably the biggest match of Bray's career to that point, and the most memorable thing about it was an overhead projector. Number 7, CM Punk, AEW Championship 2022. No, not that one, the first one. A Double or Nothing 2022, the sight of CM Punk with a tear in his eye, holding a world title again all those years after walking away from the business for what he thought was forever, was a piece of absolute cathartic beauty for many fans who had longed for this moment. But just 3 short days later, literally while making his entrance, an excited Punk leapt into the crowd to celebrate and smashed his foot into the railing, breaking said foot. And it's not hyperbole to say that his AEW run never recovered. What followed was a few months on the shelf, a return that kicked off with a bizarre shoot call-out of Adam Page that sent the rumour mill into hyperdrive, and a 3-minute unification squash match with interim champ Jon Moxley, and that was that for the Punkers' time with the belt. Later, Scuttlebutt would cast an even deeper shadow over this period, and when you do see it as part 1 of a sad trilogy that ended CM Punk's AEW career, it all feels like a squandered opportunity. And speaking of, number 6, CM Punk, WWE title, 2011. Oh good lord, what could have been, what should have been. Some things in wrestling lore end up being viewed over generously through rose-tinted nostalgia specs, but the moment CM Punk wins the WWE title on the last day of his contract, hops over the barricade and blows a kiss to a crestfallen Vince McMahon before running off into an elated, rabid Chicago crowd, retains every single bit of magic. The wrestling world was abuzz. Even if you knew it was a work, the mere greenlighting of this story felt fresh. If they're gonna go ahead with this idea, we asked ourselves, would they commit? Where would Punk go? Think of the potential. Would he show up in Ring of Honor and draw a line with the original Summer of Punk? Imagine if he went to Japan with that belt. There were so many possibilities for a story that might have reinvigorated not only WWE, but the entire wrestling.
But WWE didn't want to, WWE didn't want to open the doors for anybody else but themselves.
Scene. However, after popping his nose into a WWE panel at Comic-Con, Punk would show up again on WWE television a mere 8 days after fleeing the scene in that glorious Windy City climax, settle his champ versus champ feud with John Cena 2 weeks later, only to immediately lose the belt in a cash-in from notable prick Alberto Del Rio after an interference from notable decade past his prime Kevin Nash. Well, never mind, I guess. Number 5. Christian, World Heavyweight Championship 2011. He might be on arguably the run of his career right now, but Christian...
Yeah, I can't stand current dickhead Christian, but...
Cage was never treated like the star he inarguably is in WWE. In fact, he's kind of the king of striking out on your own and proving what you're made of, doing it way before it was cool, with a fantastic run in TNA, which is the reason he was brought back into the Connecticut fold in 2010. But it wasn't until his old tag partner and BFF Edge was forced into an early retirement that WWE caved and gave Captain Charisma his first run with a major title, replete with the feel-good factor that had long-time fans ecstatic to see a workhorse getting long overdue credit. And that lasted for literally 1 produced episode of television when he was beaten by Randy Orton, so that's a nice way to build up a new top star, isn't it? They'd go on to have a really solid feud over the next few weeks, but that is none of your concern. This was rubbish, and I wouldn't be surprised if Mr. Cage would rather pop a blue dot over this first reign. Number 4. Becky Lynch, SmackDown Women's title 2019. Becky Lynch is the poster child for turning lead into gold. A pot of gold, you might say. Anyone who can go from doing an Irish jig that borders on offensive coming from from a legitimate Irish woman to the first female main event of WrestleMania deserves her flowers. Becky Two Belt's crowning moment was euphoric, even if it did come post-midnight on a show that was longer than the average office day. But while she'd go on to hold the Raw Women's title for over a year, the man's grip on the SmackDown belt was considerably more limp, and what gets on my nerves here is not that she lost it, but how it went down. Forced to defend both titles in one night, Becky saw off Lacey Evans and then went straight into a match with Charlotte Flair, who pinned her clean and who was then immediately cashed in on by the newly minted Miss Money in the Bank, Bayley. If you're gonna do that, tell the story of a fighting champ who grit her teeth and made it through not one, but two challenges, one of whom is another candidate for the women's wrestling Mount Rushmore, only to be felled by an opportunist who was supposed to be an old friend. But instead of telling a compelling story and cementing 3 stars in one go, they continue to artificially inflate Charlotte's title win record and shaft Bex in the process. Bobbins. Number 3. Daniel Bryan, WWE title, 2014. Few moments live in infamy as much as the miracle on Bourbon Street. Again, a moment forced into being by fans who couldn't quite believe they were actually getting what they longed for. Daniel Bryan Danielson Bryan saw off Triple H, Batista, and Randy Orton on the same night to win the WWE Championship. It's a moment so iconic that chances are you don't need us to illustrate it for you. You can close your eyes and picture it perfectly. So, while you do that, here is whatever image editor Ellis wants to show you. Dealer's choice, Al, this is your moment. Anyway, very soon into his title reign, Bryan started losing feeling in his arm and was forced to undergo major neck surgery, taking him out of action for a long time. Unable to defend the belt, the already tortured Authority storyline had to weave a few more overly complicated yarns to find a way to strip Bryan of the belt. So one of the best WrestleMania endings ever was followed up by just 2 title defenses, one of which was a no contest. Gutting. Number 2, Kofi Kingston, WWE Championship 2000.
I'm so mad they did him dirty, man. Him and Biggie, man. Not only ain't talking, not just because of that 6-second win, that 6-second loss to Brock Lesnar, but they didn't capitalize his reign so well though. Oh man, and folks to put it, folks don't even like his reign. That sucks right there, man.
2019. You're probably noticing a pattern in this list, but there's a true joy in seeing something you never thought would happen actually take shape, and this is possibly the best example of it. After all,
I just hope that Cody don't fall in that situation well either, man. I just hope, man. Hope that with the new direction, new rest of a Triple H thing, then Cody's title run, hopefully when he beats the Tribal Chief on WrestleMania, man, they better let him do it too. Becomes a great one, man. I hope so, man. Hope nothing gets away. I hope they don't do no shitty booking with that, please, don't. Because there's a lot of folks that's other reasons why folks don't want him to win, and they want the Tribal Chief to hold on for the long as well too, because the outcome they afraid that the outcome might end up being like Daniel Bryan and Kofi though, because they don't trust WWE. But I hope not, man.
Even supposed to be in the title picture, let alone win the belt. But for once, the world turned into a meritocracy, and by sheer force of will, Kofi earned his WrestleMania moment, and what a moment it is. The genuine emotion from his New Day brothers, a lovely piece of commentary from Byron Saxton, and the sight of his young son holding the belt in the air even chokes me up, which is saying something because I think children are heinous. Which is why the title run itself is so crushingly disappointing. One lackluster program after another, not helped by the fact that in the early days, Kofi's title was playing second fiddle to a disappointing Seth Rollins Universal title run. And in a spectacularly cruel final curtain, Kofi lost the belt to Brock Lesnar in less than 10 seconds without getting a single move in. He was made to look like nothing more than a living prop, and it's a damn shame. And number 1, Dolph Ziggler, World Heavyweight Championship 2013. How could it be anything else, honestly? Is there much more that can be said about the brilliance of this cash-in? Possibly the best cash-in of all time, one of the most electric title wins of all time, and a foundation stone for making the Raw after WrestleMania an actual thing. It's brilliantly done. The raw as his music hits, the intensity of Ziggler's performance. For me, the fact that NPADR gets a few licks in himself adds to it, because it's that delayed gratification of the 3 count, and delayed gratification is also the reason this reign is so frustratingly bad. Dolph had toiled in the mid-card for years, always delivering performances that lived up to his show-off moniker, so seeing him win the big gold in such a rapturously received way felt like the rocket on his back had finally caught fire. But alas, after suffering a concussion, Dolph dropped the title in his first defense and never got a rematch. The famous story goes that Vince had no real plans to book Dolph as champ, and only went ahead with the cash-in because it felt right for a quick pop. Millionaire who should be a billionaire. Think of all the extra Stash diet you could buy if you just followed through on giving your paying audience what they actually want once in a while. And that's our list. Thanks loads for watching.
Yep, there you go, man. So yeah, hopefully Triple H don't feel like that. Don't care. Don't think about the quick pop doing it because you know, and book it correctly as well too. Hopefully, like I say, with Cody Wednesday as well too, he gets that. He gets the not just a big pop and no win, but a good run as well too. Now, I mean, hopefully Triple H can help Babyface have great runs and with the title as well too, instead of like only giving long runs to the heels. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, if they had the likes of Bruno Sammartino and Hulk Hogan, a good amount of the Babyfaces can have long title runs, man. Even Bob Backlund when he's doing his Babyface run, why can't it happen now, man? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's because we're still in this Edgelord era of life as well too, where folks like bad guys more than good guys. Who knows? Either way, hopefully Cody, when he wins, he finally they give him like great title run and great payoff going forward. But other than that, if you like my reaction, like, share, subscribe to my YouTube channel. What's this? Crossmores. I might check that out when I get a chance. Anyway, if you like my reaction, like, share, subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's your boy T-Bird signing off. One love.